You're listening to the main event with Zach Gelb and Mike Zahn on WIP.
Nothing like a little Bruce Springsteen to cheer us up on a Monday following an Eagles loss. The Birds are 1-3 on the year with the Saints coming to town this Sunday. Zach Gelb here with you, flying solo today on this Monday. Time in the WIP studios is 11:16. Now let's go out to the hotline and talk some EAGLES Eagles with the Spanish play-by-play voice of your Philadelphia Eagles, and that's Rickie Ricardo, who joins us right now. Rickie, Zach Gelb here at Temple University. Thanks for a few minutes. How are you?
Good morning, Zach. Anytime, my friend.
Well, thank you for coming on. And I was at the game on Sunday yesterday where the Eagles drop another game in the NFC East. They fall to 1-3 on the year in that 23-20 loss to the Washington Redskins. And Rickie, it's been a constant theme for the Eagles this year. Chip Kelly said it comes down to execution, but they're not just executing to start these football games. What do you make of these Eagles' slow starts in the beginning of the game?
Well, this is now on three occasions that the Eagles have had very, very rough halves, okay? In three of these four games, it's been the first half against the Jets. It was the second half. So if you put together, Zach, the second half of the Jet game and the first half of the Redskin game, you're talking about within the course of this season alone, you've got one whole game's worth right there where this Eagle team has been shut out. With all the weapons that this Eagle team possesses as far as the offensive side of the ball is concerned, and Chip Kelly's innovative style, everything that he brings to the table as far as the offense is concerned, you really have to scratch your head about what the heck is going on here. So last night on my own show in town on WIP, we're going back and forth with some of the guys, some of the writers, and really I think it all comes down to, you can call it execution all you want, but I think the lack of attention, maybe in the offseason, to depth on the offensive line is coming back to bite Chip as far as the offense is concerned. When you lose a Jason Peters early in the game yesterday, and you've got your second guard, remember, your right guard, who wasn't even your starter at the beginning of the season, is in the game, and you have to move him from right guard to left tackle. Now it's a hodgepodge. You're putting pieces together of an offensive line against a decent, and not great, but a decent Redskins defense. Put some pressure on you. Guys like Baker and Kerrigan, who was out early in the game and then came back. But when you've got the offensive line in the state that it's in right now for the Philadelphia Eagles, it's hard to use these weapons that you've got, the DeMarco Murrays and the Ryan Matthews of the world and your Darren Sproleses, and you're not seeing the best of Sam Bradford. Chip said so himself after the game. They did not protect Bradford well enough in the first half. And that offensive line, to get that machine going of that three-headed monster of the running attack the Eagles have, right now just is in no position, to assist guys like Murray, Sproles, and Matthews to get it going.
This offense has been anemic, and it hasn't met expectations. It's plain and simple. And I place the blame on Chip Kelly because he wanted all the power. He was the one that made all these big moves in the offseason, and I just still don't get it. I was in the press box yesterday, and I'm sitting there, and I say, how do they let Evan Mathis go, and how don't they draft an offensive lineman in the last two drafts, Rickie?
They haven't addressed the depth on the offensive line. The issue of Mathis, he hasn't been, making the world go round in Denver either. Look, if you want to pinpoint the Harriman's situation or the Mathis situation, that's one thing. But I think, and I agree with you, I think addressing depth in the offensive line for the last couple of years now, we really haven't seen anything in the draft. Some unsigned free agents, after the initial draft was over, were brought over, never made the team. You're looking at pieces, guys that were out of football for the last couple of years, who didn't necessarily even dress for the majority of the games last year, now taking a starting role within that offensive line. And look, am I here to cast judgment on Chip Kelly's ability to create a roster? No, it's still too early in the game for that. But what I can tell you is, when you've got horses like Murray, Ryan Matthews, Darren Sproles in the backfield, you have got Rolls-Royce weaponry, and you're trying to protect this Rolls-Royce weaponry, with subpar protection up front on the offensive line. So they're going to have to address that in some way, shape, or form, whether it's different kinds of blocking schemes or a different kind of attack as far as as the game plans are concerned, but they're going to have to do something to keep Bradford upright because there was pressure on Bradford all day yesterday, and you've got to get that running game going. You paid DeMarco Murray a lot of money to have this few carries and to be this ineffective.
I know it's tough to sign people in season in the NFL or make a trade. You don't really see a lot of trades in the NFL. Does Chip, though, find a way to bring in another offensive lineman this year, or is this just a roster we're going to have to deal with?
You can look at the waiver wire. You can try to pull off the deal. You said so, Zach. It's very difficult to make trades in the NFL. It's not baseball. It's not basketball or hockey where, the teams that start falling off look to move pieces as the trade deadline approaches. And the trade deadline in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken, is right about week 5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken. But you just don't do that. It's just not the way things done are in the NFL. So you can look at the waiver wire. You can bring guys in. You got guys on the practice squad, but it is, of the 4 major sports, Zach, the most difficult to retool within a season. So it's going to have to come from within. These guys are going to have to, buckle it up. Jason Peters, we're starting maybe to see him slip. But could he be on the downside of his career? We're going to have to see some of these guys that are in that room right now, get the chin strap, put it on a little bit tighter, and get out there and make some holes for these running backs.
We're talking to the Spanish play-by-play voice of your 1-3 Philadelphia Eagles as Rickie Ricardo joins us right now. DeMarco Murray had some interesting comments after the game. I actually do agree with him. He needs to get more touches. I thought he was very professional about the way that he went about those comments, and he had the best offensive line in football last year, Rickie. He was the leading rusher in the league. Do you think he at all regrets signing here at Philadelphia because they're just not utilizing him the right way?
No, regret I don't think is the right word here. It's been a difficult beginning. I think DeMarco is looking forward to being in this system, in Chip's system, when it's all working, when it's all flowing correctly. By design, this is a system where DeMarco should be just as effective or more than he was last year with the Cowboys. So regret? No, I don't think anybody regrets signing that kind of contract and coming to a first-class organization, Zach, and let me stress, first-class organization, which are the Philadelphia Eagles in every way, shape, or form. Not that the Cowboys aren't, but this much I can tell you. He's in a good spot with a head coach who with the right pieces, is going to make him as effective or more and bring out the best in DeMarco Murray at some point here. So I don't think regret is the correct word. Right now, is he disappointed? Because he has to be. Because DeMarco Murray is one of those type of running backs, and we've seen those over the years, that they thrive on work. He gets better as the game goes on, as the carry total goes up, as he starts to wear down the opposing defense. He gets better and better. The team rides on his shoulders. He's that kind of back that we've seen over the years. He's the Emmitt Smith type of back. He's the Walter Payton type of back. Feed me more. Keep giving me the ball. That's the kind of back DeMarco Murray is. We won't see the best of him until you start seeing him in the upper 20s, lower 30s in carries. You'll start seeing the yardage numbers go up, and you'll see the Eagle offense keep the opposing defense on the field instead of vice versa, what you're seeing now, which is time of possession totally in favor of the other team in all 4 games this year.
Let's get to the quarterback and Sam Bradford. I've never been a big fan of him. I didn't like the move when Chip went out there and got him. But if you want to take one silver lining after yesterday's loss to the Redskins, he did finally look good in that second half up against the Redskins, which he should up against a decimated secondary. How does that second half help his confidence? Do you buy stock in that?
Yes, I do. We started seeing the Sam Bradford that we all knew at some point we would see. Going deep, taking shots down the field. The 62-yard touchdown pass to Riley Cooper, the second longest in the career of Sam Bradford. Second highest quarterback rating in the career of Sam Bradford. Even we know his best days with the St. Louis Rams, which obviously were short. Really only one season where you started to see some of the fruits of the first-round draft pick, first overall pick, which was Sam Bradford. But absolutely, I think you started in the second half yesterday to see a much more confident in the pocket, a little bit more comfortable Sam Bradford on certain plays when the Eagles protected him. And I go back to the offensive line when he was given protection yesterday. And on the touchdown pass to Selleck, Zach, you saw Bradford escape not just the grasp of one potential defender that was going to sack him. He got away from about 3 or 4 guys on that play as he then shifted to the right and hit Selleck in the end zone. So those type of plays. If you can keep this guy upright, you're going to see, a dynamic quarterback. At some point, the Eagles are going to get the best of Sam Bradford. Hopefully it started yesterday. They've got to keep it going next week against the Saints defense that can be had as long as Bradford is upright.
I just don't know if this team can be consistent on offense for the rest of the year. They could obviously still compete in the NFC East because it's not a strong division. But, Ricky, it just seems like every time this offense looks like they're about to take a step forward, they just shoot themselves in the foot. I'll go back to the Cowboys game after the defense forced a fumble. Then Kelsey had the bad snap. And even yesterday, Aguilar makes that one-handed catch. And then the next play, they have the reverse, and then he just fumbled the football, and they lost the ball.
Remember, you're talking about some young players also. Aguilar, only in his fourth game as a pro. Sometimes we it escapes us that there's a lot of youth. Jordan Matthews in his second year. You're talking about a first-year guy in Aguilar. Even some of the statements made about, Aguilar said about, I didn't really catch the ball correctly on that reverse play where he created or had the turnover. These are young guys, that are blending into a complicated offensive system of Chip Kelly's. There are going to be some inconsistencies. As the year goes on, we should see some of these things erased. Remember, the way the NFL conducts its business now as far as the preseason is concerned and the lack of practice time, it takes a little bit longer, Zach, than in years past to get some of these guys to gel, to create that rapport quarterback to receivers. It doesn't happen as quickly as it should happen because some of the restraints that teams have as far as practice is concerned and as much time that these guys can be together before the season starts. And then you saw so little of people like Sam Bradford in the first 4 preseason games that it's difficult to develop a rapport quarterback to receivers and to get that offense as complicated as it can be under Chip Kelly to work correctly. It's just going to take a little bit more time. We're going to have to bite our lip and just let it happen.
If we look at this at the most pessimistic way possible, let's say they lose to the Saints and then lose to the Giants, and then they'd be at 1-5 on the year. And if this offense continues to struggle, what do you think it would take for Chip to go to Sanchez, or is he just going to live and die with Bradford?
Interesting question. If this team is at 1-5 when they get to the bye week, then we're going to have to revisit this question. As of right now, I think you've hitched your wagon to Sam Bradford. As long as he's healthy, you're going to have to stick with him. He played better yesterday, as you just mentioned, in the second half. That was the Bradford, hopefully, minus the one pass that he threw a little bit behind Darren Sproles. If he hits Sproles in stride there, I think Sproles is in the end zone, and we're not having this conversation. We're talking about a 2-2 team. But, no, I think that Sanchez is a capable backup. If the team is at 1-5 at the bye week, then all bets are off. We've got to revisit this question. But right now, you've got a game against the New Orleans Saints team coming off a big win, their first win last night against the Cowboys, but a team, that has got a lot of youth on the defensive side. They've got the most snaps, by far the most snaps by rookies on the defensive side of any team in the National Football League. Next Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field, that should be, and I emphasize the word should, that should be a team that the Eagle offense can do some things again. The big game to me is that Monday nighter against the Giants on the 19th. That'll be the type of in-division litmus test right before the bye that we'll see and be able to reassess what's happening about who's playing where and how much time they're getting after that Giant game and during that bye week.
Wrapping up with Rickie Ricardo from Sports Radio 94 WIP and the Spanish play-by-play voice of the Eagles and the New York Yankees. I saw Trey Wingo put out a tweet this morning, and it said, the Eagles defense is on the field 3 more minutes than any other team in the National Football League. That final drive, 15 plays, 90 yards in 5 minutes and 39 seconds. The Eagles lose by a score of 23-20. They're not getting a rush. I just think it comes down to, Ricky, that they were gassed. I know Chip Kelly denied it after the game. He said, hey, we're not going to make any excuses. We weren't tired. Were the Eagles gassed at the end of that game yesterday on the defensive side of the ball?
Looked like it to me. And I was right there as you were at the stadium yesterday calling the game on our Eagles and Espanol network. When you have the disparity in time of possession that you saw yesterday, and that last drive, the offsetting penalties extended the drive, some third down conversions. The Redskins had a lot of big time, the draw play early in the game. There were a lot of big-time third-down conversions that really, those are the ones that snap the spirit of your defense. When you've got a team in third and long, which the Eagles had on several occasions yesterday, and you see the Redskins convert those third downs, it takes the air out of your defense, whether they're physically spent, mentally spent, or a little bit of both. That last drive, and what upset me the most, and I said this last night on my own show, the Eagle defense made Kirk Cousins look like Aaron Rodgers last night. I don't want to cast asperity on Kirk Cousins. He's a professional quarterback in the National Football League. But for Kirk Cousins to drive 90 yards and eat up so much time on the clock, you would have thought it was Joe Montana. That's partly to blame because that Eagle defense by that time was just out and out spent, in my opinion.
Ricky, before we let you run, this city is disappointed with the Eagles. They're at a 1-3 start. You know that this city lives and dies off the success of the Philadelphia Eagles. People need to be cheered up today, and I love the Spanish broadcast work that you do. And I still remember when I interned for Angelo Cataldi, one of the funniest on-air moments was when you were doing a news report. I think it was for KYW, and you were doing the report in English, and then you went to a cut of a baseball player talking in Spanish, and Angelo absolutely loved that. And my history of Spanish, I'm not proficient in the language, but I did take it in middle school and high school, was basically saying, yo necesito el coche por 5 personas when I was on a family vacation. Can you just quickly give us a Spanish radio call of an Eagles touchdown? Because people just need a good laugh today.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll take you back to, I wish I had the call. I would have sent it to you so you could have played it. But the Darren Sproles punt return, against the Jets, where it was, 30, 40, 50, 40, 25, 20, 10. Touchdown, Eagles! It's a little difficult, Zach. It'll be the first thing in the morning on Monday. But look, we have a lot of fun with it. There's a lot of energy involved. There's a lot of Eagle fans around the Caribbean and Mexico, all over the place. There's Eagle fan clubs that listen to the Eagles in Espanol every Sunday, and I'm blessed to have that position and be able to talk to you in English about it the next day and all these great Philadelphia fans. I love it. It's something that we have a ball doing, and we look forward to the Eagles getting things turned around so we can have some more moments just like that to share with you, Zach.
Ricky, you're the best. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
You already have a manager fired here this morning, Zach, in Major League Baseball. Some of these chips are starting to fall. Matt Williams, the first to go.
That's not a surprise. Rickie Ricardo from Sports Radio 94 WIP and the Spanish play-by-play voice of the Philadelphia Eagles. Great stuff out of him, and we appreciate him coming on today. All right, time in the WHIP studios is 11:33. 215-204-WHIP is our number. When we get back, Jay Feely will join us to talk some Temple football and kicking. I'm Zach Gelb. We'll take a quick break. Here's Tom Hansen with the WHIP Sports Update.